Thank you everyone for joining this live on ServiceNow session. Today we're going to be covering what is new in the Zurich release for the third-party risk management TPRM product, as well as smart assessment. So we'll go ahead and jump into it. By way of a quick round of introductions, my name is Brittany Pettit. I am on the outbound product management side of our risk business unit. In the risk business unit covering different products, including third-party risk management and smart assessment engine. And I am joined by my esteemed colleagues, Rosen Shakya, who is on our inbound product management side. He owns our third-party risk management product, and Shruti Cherian, who is our inbound product manager for smart assessment engine. And they are going to be complemented by our technical expert, Kevin Luo, who is our engineer also on the risk side, who's going to also be giving us a little bit of a demo today. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We're so excited to bring these experts to you and share to you what is new in third-party risk and smart assessment engine today. Of course, quick safe harbor statement. We don't plan to cover features or roadmap in this session, but just in case it comes up in questions, we're just like to put it up here just to make sure that if we talk about futures, we are covered. But this session is all about what is new, what is live, what is generally available for our Zurich release. A little bit of Q&A before we get started. We do have dedicated moments where we're going to pause to collect and read out any Q&A questions. But please, as we go throughout the day today, please make sure, if you can remember, to please use the Q&A button instead of the chat. I know it's always a challenge. If you do happen to ask a question in the chat side of Zoom, those of us in the chat will probably gently redirect you over to the Q&A side so that we can collect those questions and read them out. And we'll do our best that we can to answer them as we go throughout the session today and read out any that we happen to miss. So feel free, please use the Q&A button as much as you're able to remember, and we'll collect and cover all of those questions. We will also be recording and sharing this session following the event as well. So hello to those of you who are watching the recording. We're glad that you're joining us. And then finally, for those of you who are here live, we'd really appreciate it if you can stick around for just a minute after we close out the session to answer a quick survey. It'll pop up on your screen and just give us a chance to collect some feedback on how we're doing. Where we are now in the map of what's coming for all of the sessions like this, the live on ServiceNow sessions. We have covered IRM and privacy, IRM and Now Assist, as well as BCM and Ops Res. Today we are here to cover third-party risk as well as smart assessment engine, and we have additional sessions coming as well for ESG and Now Assist, for AICT, that's AI Control Tower, entity-based user access management, and we also will be hosting some office hours as well. So lots of opportunities to interact with the product team, ask your questions, get them answered, and of course catch all of those recordings. I do recommend scanning this QR code that is up in the corner here so that you can sign up for any. Make sure to get them added into your calendar. We will also be covering some additional resources that are available to you at the end of the session as well, if there is time. But just in case that we have to run quickly through those slides, do your best to capture this QR code, as well as the one that I have on the next slide as well, where you can see all of the great events that we have coming up for you in our community. You can go ahead and scan this as well. We'll also drop the link into the chat today as well. So you have tons of different ways that you can be part of the conversation, join the community, join all of our events. We also have lots of other great events coming up as well, which I'll cover time allowing in the resources section of today. All right. So with that, our agenda for today, we will cover first what's new in third-party risk. Rosen's going to be walking us through all of the great new features. It's a huge release for Zurich, so we're very excited for him to share what's new, as well as we'll have Kevin give us a demo of what that looks like. And Shruti is also going to be covering for us what is new in Smart Assessment Engine, always staying a step ahead of where all of the products in the risk portfolio need Smart Assessment Engine to be in order to support all of the various functionality throughout the portfolio. But very, very excited to share with you what those updates mean, especially for third-party risk today. So just to give you a little bit of a history, just covering the last 6 family releases and a couple of store releases, we've had so much innovation in the risk portfolio, so all across the portfolio, right, including and outside of TPRM and Smart Assessment Engine. Lots of great innovation. And of course, now with Zurich, it's a huge release, especially for third-party risk, as we'll see in terms of migrating over to Smart Assessment Engine. And we'll see what is new for Smart Assessment Engine specifically as well, right around the corner from Australia. So if you are curious about what is coming down the pike, feel free to reach out to your representatives if you're a ServiceNow customer to learn how you can learn a little bit more about what's coming in the product from the product management team, from some of our roadmap sessions. But today it is all about that final column, that light purple column for Zurich, covering off what's new in third-party risk and Smart Assessment Engine. Just as a reminder, so to give you a sense of how the risk product portfolio looks and where these different products sit together, up at the top here, we've got all of the products in the portfolio. So integrated risk management, which includes various different applications, business continuity management, as well as our standalone products. So that includes third-party risk. And then within that middle layer, you see things like the shared functionality across the entire portfolio. So Smart Assessment Engine is an example of that. It supports third-party risk. It is also used heavily across our portfolio of applications within the risk business unit. And of course, all of that sits on all of the rich, beautiful functionality afforded to us through the ServiceNow platform. So the ServiceNow platform on which all of our applications are built gives us the ability to leverage all kinds of different rich functionality to build that into our applications to allow you to configure and add on and meet your specific business requirements as well. But really helps us to springboard to see a lot of acceleration as we build out and continue to enhance our products, leveraging what is available within the platform and beyond. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get into third-party risk specifically. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Rosen to walk us through all of the new functionality before we get into a little bit of a demo. Rosen, over to you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Brittany. Let me do a screen share. Are you able to see my screen?
We see it. Looks good.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Hi, everyone. Rosen Shakya, Inbound Product Manager for Third-Party Risk Management. Welcome, everyone. Let me start with the big picture. One of the biggest pain points that we consistently hear from our customers is the burden of assessment, right? Whether that be setting the questionnaires up, collecting response, or communicating with third parties so that we can get a quicker turnaround, right? Assessments are core to TPRM. So now the classic assessment, while being the workhorse for years, wasn't really designed to meet today's requirements, where risk managers expect faster onboarding, seamless collaboration, and automation. That's where, as of Zurich, we are introducing Smart Assessment Engine for TPRM, right? So Smart Assessment Engine is our next generation assessment designed to provide a superior experience, cut response time, and ultimately accelerate decision-making within the third-party risk management space. Now, out of the box, Smart Assessment Engine is available for both the internal and external assessments for TPRM. So that would mean internal for your IRQs and your tiering assessment and any external assessments, right? Customers will need to turn on this plugin, right? But then once they turn this on, Smart Assessment Engine will be the default assessment engine going forward, right? So that means any new assessments that will be created will have to be created on Smart Assessment Engine. That being said, for in-flight classic assessments that's already sent out to the third party, they will still be, they can still be kind of responded to and collected from the third party. It's just that net new assessments will have to be on Smart Assessment Engine. Next slide here. So we've made some minor changes. So there's visibility in terms of, which assessment engine, an external assessment is. So at the back, what you're seeing is a field that we've added called Assessment Engine that indicates whether, that VRA is classic or smart. Also, in the front, we've updated lists to include some of the pages for assessment setup and event-driven rules. Kevin is going to cover this during his demo as well, but then, here's just sort of a quick call out in terms of UX changes that we kind of made. On the questionnaire template for TPRM, this needs to be created through vendor management workspace, right? So we have certain fields that is specific to the TPRM that needs to be filled out in the template. That's why any SAE for TPRM will have to be created within the vendor management workspace. And once that's created, you'll have the ability to kind of edit it using the SAE template designer, right? Classifications in our current template, that's been renamed to purpose, right? Internal and external assessment-related forms will now have a new field that will show whether that assessment is classic or SAE. Similarly, so there is a new flag field on the assessment template and the issue generation rule form as well to indicate whether it's supported for SAE or not. And Kevin is going to cover this later during his demo session. Next, so we've added 2 new user roles. So this is primarily going to be used for responding to the assessments, both for your internal user and external user. These are going to be automatically assigned once an IRQ or an external assessment is assigned. The respondent is identified on the template, right? So there's no additional steps that needs to be taken. This new roles are auto-assigned to those users. Here, what I have is a quick comparison between some of the feature capabilities between Classic and Smart Assessment Engine. As you can see, a lot of what was provided by Classic Engine that's included in Smart Assessment Engine, and then some more, right? So quick call outs for some of the features. So for collaboration, users will be able to add, remove contributors, and while they're working on the same questionnaire, there's a presence and an activity indicator to identify who's working on the same questionnaire, right? There's also an ability to kind of combine assessments to merge multiple questionnaires that has been assigned to them to provide that single experience. There's also response automation that ensures that there's consistency in response across engagement for same questions, right? Post-assessment actions allows you to generate issues and a notification, flag controls as compliant, non-compliant, or update fields based on certain responses that's collected in either of the assessments, right? So this is a very powerful tool that is only provided in Smart Assessment Engine. From an experience standpoint, Smart Assessment Engine comes with context panel that allows users to get key information about that assessment, right? And by default for TPRM specifically, so from a scoring perspective, we have normalized scoring, right? So this is available by default to TPRM customers. So there are, a few items that is not getting carried over to Smart Assessment Engine, such as signature response exports and fourth-party detailed collection. So for export response, so today, I mean, if you remember, so in Yokohama, we integrated with platform analytics. So you will still have the ability to, export responses. It's just going to have to be through platform analytics. So customers will have to create reports targeting those assessments to kind of extract, the responses. For fourth-party detail collection, today we kind of do that through questionnaires. So we are thinking of providing a new data model for collecting fourth-party details. So in the interim, if you do want to still continue using questionnaires to collect fourth-party detail, we can provide you an update set, but out of the box, that feature is not supported. What else? Okay. So again, internal assessments, those will be available for internal users to take that assessment from the GRC task portal. So instead of the surveys, so currently in Classic, you go to Employee Center to surveys to take the Classic assessment. For SAE, you would have to go to GRC portal to take that assessment. For external assessment, it's going to be the same. There's a new page created especially for taking SAE assessments, but from a user standpoint, they won't know the difference. It's essentially the same. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Kevin to walk us through the migration workflow. Over to you, Kevin.
Sure. Thank you, Rosen. Let me share my screen. You see my screen, right? Okay. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to go through I'm going to cover the migration process, and then I'm going to walk through the due diligence workflow, which includes both internal risk assessment and external risk assessment with the Smart Assessment Engine turned on. Okay, so this slide, you can see this is our main migration map. As you can see, once for our existing customer, you already created lots of classic questionnaires. And the first thing you would do after you turn the SE on, then you have to migrate all the questionnaire templates. Once it's migrated, and then we have a counterpart of the SE questionnaire template. And then this questionnaire template needs to be published. The publish action will trigger a series of check and automation, automatic upgrade. As you can see, after a questionnaire template gets published, it will first add a SE questionnaire to existing assessment templates. Basically, it will go through all the assessment templates, see if any of the assessment templates contains this original questionnaire templates. If it does, it will add this. And once this is all the questionnaire templates gets migrated and published, and the app will automatically mark this assessment template as support smart assessment. Okay. And whenever a question template gets published, another thing also happens. If you have issue generation rule, it will also go through all the issue generation rules if any of the generation rules contain the original classic questionnaire template. If yes, it will add this new counterpart of the SE templates to the issue generation rule and mark this rule as support smart assessment. We also have in the TPM, we also have some automation rules, or we call it different names called triggering rules or TPR tier-based roles, provider-based roles, event-based roles. They all in common to use a assessment templates. Since assessment templates has now both classic questionnaire templates and smart assessment questionnaire templates. Once the assessment template is ready for SAE, all these rules will be ready automatically. During the runtime, whenever these rules are triggered, it will check the switch. So if SE is on, if it's on, it will go to use the SE questionnaire templates. If not, it will continue to use the classic questionnaire template. Okay. So the next few slides basically just to refresh your memories. And okay, so I would like to go the demo now. Okay, as you can see, I log in as 3 different users, different 3 personas. And the first one is a vendor risk admin. And the admin can also contain all the roles needed by a vendor risk manager and a vendor assessor. So in this case, I will use one role for all 3 of them. And the second one is a regular employee. They can always go to the vendor, go to the employee portal. And the last one is a third-party contact. It's a primary contact and belong to Acer, which is a third party. For the migration, I log in as a vendor risk admin. So I would start migrating. First, I will need to turn on the SE. So basically, I will go to here. Third party at the bottom of this, we have a property page. So in this case, since I need to prepare for the other demo data, so it's already turned on. So this is the switch to turn on SAE. And a warning is here is this is a one-way switch. After it's turned on, there is no way to turn it back off. Okay. So once this is turned on, now you can start migrating the assessments, the questionnaire templates. To migrate, we'll go 3 sections. One by one. So basically, we have existing classic templates for use for questionnaire, third party, for external risk assessment, for document request, and for tiering. So you need to go through all of them one by one to get them all migrated. Okay. So I'll go to questionnaire template. Okay. So these are the classic question templates. I will pick one, for example, let's say this might already been migrated. I will go ahead, clone one, so I'll make sure this is good. Okay, so I have a clone of this one. So now I can go here, migrate, or I can say, okay, I can check. I check all of them, maybe. That worked too. So in this case, I'll migrate one of them. So now there's a link take you to the status page, migration status page. As you can see, it's in progress. Once it's completed, the new SE template will fill up here. And these are the status of all the sections and questions. Okay. So in this case, there is one question type not supported. We have about four types. We already shared in a document. So the percent is not supported for now. So before we need to convert this to a we can use template. We can use a number type. Okay. So this is let me see. Okay, it's completed. So now let's go to workspace. So in a workspace, we have a new section assessment setup. This is all the external assessment templates. And this is all the new SE questionnaire templates. Okay, this is the issue generation role. Okay. In this case, okay, so these are all the assessment templates. As you can see, some of them are already ready to support smart assessment, some of them not. For example, this one does not support. Let's look at what's happening here. Okay. In this assessment template, it's using one questionnaire as classic templates. So we will need to go open this up. Basically, it's this, okay, we need to so this is the one. Yeah, let's go ahead and migrate this. So this is the clone of another one, so it's the same. So we have one not supported. So actually I should have convert this question type first. Okay. So now we have a new template. So here. Okay. So currently all the migrated AC templates are in draft by default. So I need to publish them. Okay. So here we have a section C. Since there was a questionnaire but not supported, so basically in this case, we can actually add a new type to save some time. We can delete this for now. Yeah. Now we can publish. Okay, so now let's get back to our another one. So now this should be published. Okay. Now it's ready. Support smart assessment. Okay. So that's basically the migration part. So now let me quickly show a new process, the due diligence process. Okay, so here I log in as a regular employee, and this as Abraham. Abraham can go to the employee center. Did anybody say anything? Okay. So you can make a request to onboard a new engagement. For example, we're going to onboard engagement under Acer. And I'm going to fill up this form. Let's new engagement. Okay. So this may be a hardware type, and we can say this optional for now. So I'm going to use the same contact for the third party and the same address and contact. Okay. So now, as soon as once the case is built up, if there are questionnaires, I'm going to answer the question myself. So this is ready. Okay. So there's a case submitted as a vendor risk assessor. I can go here and see this one belongs to my team. Okay. So this is the one just requested. So I'm going to go ahead. Everything looks good. I'm going to go say, okay, start onboarding. Once this kicked off, now we have a internal risk assessment automatically created. So I open this up. I'm going to add a questionnaire template to this internal risk assessment. Okay, this is done. I'm going to save this and submit. Okay, so now as Abraham, now I can see a task on the employee center. So this is one of them. Okay. So this is the latest one. Okay. So we have a very simple question here to save some time. So let's say how many employees, and let's say 400. Okay. So I'm going to submit. At the same time here, if I don't have enough information for some of the questions, sometimes you have big questionnaires, I can actually invite my teammates to answer questions from me. Or I can even reassign to somebody else, which is, it has to be an employee, not a third-party contact. So in this case, I will answer the question. Okay, I'm down here. On the assessor side, this is response received. Okay, so this one looks good. I'll just close this. And the case move forward, the due diligence move forward to next step. We can say, okay, start due diligence. Now it will automatically create a 2 external risk assessment. So I'm going to pick up one of them. So let's say, this. So here I'm going to attach a assessment, a question to template, smart template. I'm going to submit. Once it's submitted, and since this engagement belongs to Acer, and the first Acer available to Acer primary contact, and we'll get it. As you can see, there's one more new assessment, and this is the one. Okay, I'm gonna open this up. At the same time, I can also reassign to my coworkers on my team, or I can invite more people to answer the same questionnaire at the same time. Okay. So in this case, I will say, okay. Okay. Okay, so now we have response received. And for this assessment, we can say, okay, generate observations. Once in this process, you see, it created a new issue automatically, and also a task attached to this issue. If we open up this issue, it has 3 questions. So basically, these are the 3 questions people answered in unfavor, not preferred answers. Okay. So as now from the due diligence, this is okay to go. Let me check the time. I think I'm done here, and Shruti, back to you. Or maybe we need a question session.
Yes, thank you very much, Kevin and Rosen. Let's take a couple of questions. Actually, you guys are doing a fantastic job addressing them as they come up in the Q&A. But I do want to just read a few off that were answered just for folks who are watching the recording and don't have access to the Q&A. There were a couple that I think might be more common, so I just want to read them off. And Rosen, Kevin, if you have, or Shruti, if you have anything to add to these, feel free to jump in. There was a question, can we get these features without upgrading to Zurich, like if we upgrade the TPRM app? And the response was that upgrading TPRM is enough without upgrading to Zurich in regards to the new TPRM features that Rosen just highlighted. There was a question around the ability to have one big questionnaire where you are assigning questions and sections to specific individuals. This is actually going to be a great tee up to the section that Shruti is going to take us through next. We did just release a great new feature called collaboration, which will let multiple users to actually work on the same assessment at the same time. So you don't need individual assessments to go to different individuals. But as I mentioned, safe harbor up front, the ability to actually assign sections to individual users is on the roadmap for us. And we can get into collaboration in just a minute. Another question was around the ability to edit existing assessments. Will that have to be done in the new Smart Assessment Engine? So you can work on existing assessments until they are closed, but once you switch to Smart Assessments, you can't create new assessments with the classic templates. There's a question around the GRC business user contained within the new TPRM rule. will that use up a GRC license? And the answer is no, a GRC license will not be consumed for the TPM use case. That is just a role that comes with TPRM. There's a question around the new rules. Are they applicable irrespective of whether you switch to smart assessments, or are they only applicable if you opt to use smart assessments? And they are only relevant if you opt to switch to smart assessments. This is the new rule that allows you to actually take assessments through Smart Assessment Engine. So just wanted to address a few of those for folks who are watching the recording, can't see the Q&A. Thank you all for the attendees who are adding your questions as we go. They're great questions, so please keep them up as we switch over into Shruti's section, and she can take us through what is new with Smart Assessment in general. So thank you very much, Kevin and Rosen, and Shruti, over to you.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, a quick check on whether everybody can see my screen. Oh, awesome. So what's coming up in Smart Assessment Engine, or what is just out as part of Zurich? So there are two main features that we had released. The first one is an addition to the scoring feature that we had released in Yokohama. So especially for the TPRM folks, normalization was very key. So I'll just take a quick minute to explain what normalization is. Normalization is basically the ability to transform scores that are in different ranges into a single scale. Now, what does that mean? Let's say you're looking for a restaurant, right? You're trying to find the best restaurant in your city, and you're trying to look at the various ranking methodologies and the scoring criteria that is available outside as information sources for you, right? So there is one website that ranks a restaurant 4 out of 5. There's another one that ranks it 10 out of 100. And there's another one that ranks it maybe 100 out of 200, right? And so on. Now, how do you do an apple-to-apple comparison? You would need to bring all of these scores that are on different ranges into a single scale. And that's what normalization does, right? So in addition to the scoring settings or the scoring feature that we had brought out in Yokohama, we have introduced normalization that now lets you do this transformation of your normal score into a normalized score, right? In a quick minute, we will be seeing how normalization works. But in the meantime, let me also explain what the second feature that we had highlighted for Zurich was. So the second feature is collaboration. So those of you who are familiar with Smart Assessment Engine, you will know that only a single user could be assigned to an assessment, which means if you needed inputs from your subject matter experts on various aspects of your assessment, you had to either reassign the assessment or collaborate with them offline in order to gather these responses. So in order to alleviate this challenge, we have introduced the collaboration feature, which lets multiple users work on an assessment simultaneously. Right? That being said, there's going to be a single owner who is owning the assessment and can take the help or inputs from collaborators to respond to all questions on the assessment. Right? Now, without further ado, let me show you a quick demo of how these features actually look like on the instance. Right? So I have impersonated myself as Able Tutor, and I'm going to open one of the assessments that Kevin had just shown to you, right? So as Able Tutor, this assessment has been assigned to me. You will see that there is a new icon that we have introduced on the right-hand panel. And when you click on that, you're going to see the list of all of the contributors or all of the respondents for this specific assessment. Okay? Now, as the primary owner, I will see that Able Tutor is the primary owner, and I have the ability to add more collaborators. So with a simple click of a button, quickly, this is in follow-up with what Kevin was showing as well. We add whoever needs to respond to the same assessment, and we can add them as contributors. Once we add them, we will see the list of all of the contributors appear here, and you can also see the differentiation, whether they're the owner or a contributor. Right? Now that I've added this person, I can go ahead and respond to the corresponding sections that I want. You will also see a few more things, which is one, a presence indicator that is present on the top corner here. So here what I've done is on a parallel tab, I have impersonated as Abraham Lincoln, and I have logged in and opened the same assessment. So the moment that I assigned Able Tutor, the moment Able Tutor assigned Abraham Lincoln, you'll see that the presence indicator lit up saying that, hey, Able Tutor and Abraham Lincoln are both working on the same form at the same time. Right? Now, you will also see another label that has popped up below each of the questions. This is to indicate who has responded to which question. This helps drive a certain level of accountability so that you know who has responded to each question. And this is sort of in the sense that almost a real-time action that you will see. If I respond to yes, so here you'll see I'm impersonated as Abraham Lincoln, and I respond to yes here, almost instantaneously you will see that this has been reflected on Able Tutor screen as well. And if I click here, I can see that this was last responded by Abraham Lincoln. Right. So this is about it on the collaboration feature. Now, similar to what some of the questions had come, we are working on enhancing this feature in order to be able to assign certain sections to certain SMEs. But hold on to it for now. We're getting there. Right? Now, jumping quickly to normalization. So for those of you who are familiar with the scoring feature that we had released in Yokohama, it pretty much remains the same, except for the fact that when you turn on the scoring settings, you will see a new box coming up here, which has the normalization feature. Right now, on the template category, which defines the purpose of the specific template, you have the ability to define whether normalization is required for the specific template and what kind of normalization logic is applicable for your specific scenario. Right. So let me explain what that means. So I'm going to turn on normalization for this specific template. And here I have configured certain default values, which is most commonly used for TPRM. So you will also realize that these are very similar to the ones that you would see in the classic assessment that you were using. They were using the exact same parameters. Now, here, in case you do not need this linear formula to calculate your normalization, you also have the ability for your assessment admins to be able to configure different normalization strategies. Right? Now, depending on the normalization strategy, the inputs here can also vary. So if your new normalization strategy just needs a new scale max, a new scale min, you will have the ability to configure it that way as well. Right? So here you will see that I have the ability to set up certain defaults. Now, what that means is I have the ability to define what the normalization strategy should be for the scores which are generated at each levels. Now, which are those levels? So you can either choose to apply these defaults at the assessment level, section level, subsection level, questions level, or across everything. You can also choose it in such a way that I set this as a default, but I still have the capability to override it at different levels. Let me quickly show you how that's done. So here I'm going to select as all sections. I want the default strategy linear to be set to a scale of 0 to 100 across all my sections. So I'm going to go here and save this. Now, when I navigate to my first section, you will see that when I enable scoring, I see the option to use normalized scores per aggregation. So similar to how I used to do scoring in Yokohama, I'm going to say I need the average of all of my question scores as the score for this section, and I need these scores to be normalized. So when I do that, you will notice that there is a bar that's at the bottom, which is showing what is the normalization strategy that is going to be used for this calculation. So it says that this is directly inheriting the default strategy that I had set at the template level. I have the ability to modify this here. I can override it and I can select another one if I need to, or I can even choose to remove the normalization from this current template as well. That I'll take a quick pause and yeah, back to you, Brittany.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shruti. All right, so nice, crisp demo. That is addressing a couple of the questions that we have in the chat, and thank you again to the folks who are doing such a good job of answering them as they come up. For the additional resources, I'll start off with the what's new replays. So this session that we're hosting now, for those of you who are seeing it live, we do also host this so that you can watch the replay. And for those of you who are watching the recording, this is probably where you found it. It is going to be hosted to the Live on ServiceNow GRC playlist. So you can go ahead and scan this QR code, or typically the way that I go and find them is just go to the ServiceNow community YouTube page, and all of the playlists are going to be listed there. You can search for them there. You're also, if you do it that way, you're also going to stumble across a lot of other really great content that gets posted that way as well. So I highly recommend checking that out. But if you want to just go directly to where you can find all of the replays, so the sessions on Zurich that you've missed already, or any replays of the sessions that are coming up that you can't make, that's where you'll be able to find them all. Next up, the demos that we have. So for all of the risk products, we record demos of the major enhancements. So you're able to find those after the fact as well. They're going to be available in community. So you can scan this QR code, or you can just go to community and find them there as well. And so that's going to be things like we've got the Smart Assessment Engine integration for TPRM like we saw today. And collaboration and scoring normalization, like Shruti just showed you. Those two demos are both up there, as well as all of the other ones that you see listed here in terms of the new features for the Zurich release of all of our risk products. Also want to remind you that for all of our customers in the risk and security business unit, we are hosting Connect by Accelerate once again this year. Third year going strong, and we're very excited for it. It is also very full. I believe we just said earlier today that registration is only going to be open for another couple of days or so. So if you haven't registered already, please go ahead, scan the QR, or reach out to your ServiceNow contacts to learn how you can join. The agenda is super packed. It's going to be a really, really great session. This year, we're also covering not just risk, but also security together. We've combined them. So we're going to have tracks for risk. We'll have tracks for security. We're going to have a track that combines both risk and security. So for a cyber risk track, essentially. So there's a lot of great information, hearing from other customers like yourselves, getting to connect with partners, getting to connect with the team here at ServiceNow. It's going to be a great event. We're very excited for it. So like I said, if you haven't registered already, please reach out to your representative and see if you can snag a final seat, because it is very, very full. Finally, I'll just refer you to community one last time for some other resources that we also have available beyond the demos of the new features. So you'll also be able to find things like implementation guidance, which I'll touch on in just a second, domain guidance. You're also able to connect with each other here as well. So as you're asking some of these questions, or you want to do a little bit of troubleshooting to just better understand, or maybe hear from somebody quickly that they've gone through the same thing and they have a quick solution. That's what community is really for. It truly is a community. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's a really great resource to connect with each other, to connect with ServiceNow, and speak with all of the other experts in this space who know these products inside and out. So feel free to drop into any of those forums there, check back regularly. We're always posting new content there. Mary does a great job of keeping it up to date, and adding those links to the Zoom chat here now as well, or you can just scan that QR code again and head straight there. I know I mentioned some implementation and adoption guidance. We do have some adoption related content that we are launching specifically for TPRM, so very timely for this session. If you're interested in doing a deep dive on third-party risk management, you want to understand from the ground up the nuts and bolts, how does it work, how do you use it, how do you get things stood up, this series is really, really fantastic. So you can also find this in on the ServiceNow community YouTube page. So you can go and drill into each one of these demos specifically, or you can find the playlist for the speed learning series. We're going to be rolling out similar content for other products in the portfolio as well. So go ahead and check that out. You can also find domain guidance. So this is a little bit more business-oriented, process-oriented, to help guide you through how ServiceNow thinks about the business within each one of these respective domains, right? So we've got one for tech risk, enterprise or operational risk. We do have one for third party. We have one for business continuity that aligns with BCM, as well as the original one that we released for cyber risk. This is a really great way to start to get an understanding, not just of the technology, but also of the different processes, the business activities that you run internally, and how you can start to mature within that space. And if you are working toward leveraging your ServiceNow install a little bit more helpfully, you're thinking about what features to turn on, where you can find additional efficiency, this is a really great tool, a really great way to get an understanding of where ServiceNow can help you to mature your business in each one of these various different domains. All right, like I said up front, we've got more. We're about halfway now through the Live on ServiceNow webinars. So there's a few more left to come. Next up, we've got ESG and Now Assist coming in about a week. We also have AI Control Tower coming, so make sure that you tune in for that, and entity-based user access management, plus some office hours that we will be hosting later on in November. That is, if you don't get your office hours in when you're at Connect Accelerate in just a few short weeks. So stay tuned for that as well. As always, feel free to reach out to us. Find us on community, reach out to your ServiceNow contacts to learn a little bit more about Connect by Accelerate if you haven't already. And as always, check out the YouTube channel where you can find the replay for this session and many others, those that have happened in the past and others still to come. We look forward to engaging with you there. Thanks so much for joining today, everyone, and we'll see you on the next session.